In the bustling world of business, you're either moving forward or falling behind. Welcome to For Action Takers Only, the podcast and Facebook group where dreams become reality. We're here to fuel your ambition, sharpen your skills, and inspire your entrepreneurial spirit. Dive into the sea of opportunities with our insightful discussions, expert advice, and powerful success stories. From investment strategies to business building tips, we've got it all. Are you ready to take your first step towards your dream life? Join us on this exciting journey, unleash your potential, and watch as your dreams transform into your reality. Remember, inaction is the enemy of progress. So get on the action train with For Action Takers Only, because the time to act is now and the place to start is here. For those who dare to dream and have the courage to act, the world is their oyster. For Action Takers Only, where dreams meet action. Tune in, take action, and transform your life. Your future self will thank you.
And welcome to For Action Takers Only. This is the podcast for serial entrepreneurs and real estate investors. Anyone taking action and living their dream life. My name is Todd Kirkhoff, and I'm your host. I started this podcast to network with others, hear their story, and find out what keeps them motivated through the hard times that come. If you like what's going on here, support the channel, subscribe. Right now, it's free. Won't be forever. And now we're going to bring in Corey McNabb. He is a fellow SubTo community member and also has his own podcast called Net. I'll let him tell you about it. I'm just messing it up.
Hey,
How's it going, Corey?
it's good, Todd. How you been, man?
I've been doing all right, getting through, just struggling along. The journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about yourself, man. How'd you get started in SubTo?
So it actually starts 2020. My wife was pregnant, and we just bought a house. I'm sorry, it was after we had our first kid, so no longer pregnant. But we were in our first house, and I came across this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
All right.
I'm sure you've heard of it, if not read it. The whole reason I read it was because now I'm a dad.
Right.
And I don't necessarily want to be a poor dad, so figured I'd read it. Had no idea it would lead me into real estate. So after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, it really got me into real estate, which then I looked into Bigger Pockets. Started thinking about buying rentals, multifamily, all that sort of stuff. And it wasn't until I connected with a coworker of mine, and he was wholesaling on this. So he was like, dude, you got to listen to this podcast. And it was Chase's first podcast with Bigger Pockets.
Okay.
So he's talking about creative finance and all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, this is what I need to do. So that led me down the whole road, learning about Pace as much as I could. I was a huge consumer, just being completely and then Pace rolled out the Gator program. So I was like, you know what? I got to start taking action. I'm going to join Gator. Started building my lines of credit. And I got a decent size stack of cards. And then I just sat down and didn't really talk to anybody. Didn't really get certain things to let people know I had.
Okay.
So I wasn't getting any deals done. And there was some mental barrier that I was like, I'm not actually part of the SubTo community, so I can't really do deals. That was my mentality. So I ended up pulling the trigger and going SubTo, and it was like a switch flip.
Huh.
Suddenly, I'm in SubTo now. I have to take action.
But hold on, let me stop you there. You're already in Gator though, right? You're in the Gator community. You joined
Yeah.
Gator, but you couldn't do because you weren't in sub 2. You felt you had to be in sub 2. So that was
Yeah.
that was the switch you needed to boost you forward.
Yeah. I don't really get it.
No, I mean I can understand it. I wish it was that was simple for me. That thing would I need to find my switch.
Yeah.
That's cool. You found your switch.
Yeah. So as soon as I joined, I started taking action, going to meetups, talking to people. I ended up joining first I joined Brad and Andrew out of Houston.
Yeah.
Wanted to start calling because I needed to figure out what my actual avatar was. Because I could sit there and read the list all day and be like, oh, I like this one and this one. But until you actually try it, like you don't know if it connects with. So I joined there, and shortly after that, they merged with Buds. And actually, as of this recording, I just left their team. So I joined them in December.
Okay. So you were on the Muds team.
Yep.
Did you get on? Did you get on when they started that challenge? Like your first deal challenge.
So I technically joined right before that.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty much.
I was on that team too for a little while during that, but I'm also on another guy's team named Michael Hayes here in Houston. So I still call for him, and so I couldn't juggle both. I thought I would try it, do it for a little while. So working full time, juggling 2 teams as like this, and the podcast, trying to get this going too. I was like, that's a little too much, so I had to drop off theirs for a while. But so, how did you like it? How did you like being on their team? You stayed on it for quite a while.
Yeah, I loved it. We so I kind of did the thing initially. I joined their team. I joined Eddie Chargers team out here in Atlanta, and then I was talking to a Victor into fun. And after, let's say, maybe a month, I realized I was putting more focus on the Muds team than it was anybody else's. So I wasn't doing any good. So I went ahead and told them, hey, I'm not helping you out. So focus on what I am doing. But yeah, I started as a feature with them. So we were calling agents, pitching SubTo. It was great. I learned a lot. I didn't get a lot of it, but I wasn't like, oh, I'm on this team to get paid. I was trying to figure out, one, if I was even good at communicating with people. 2, if like calling was something I wanted to do. So I spent 3 months doing that. And at the end of it, an opening up to become a team lead. So I ended up putting my name in, and they awarded it. So
Awesome.
I was a team lead for, what is that? I don't know, 3 to 6 months, something like that.
All right.
And then I was just on managing outreach,
Okay.
which I didn't mind. But it wasn't until probably after I brought up some kind of redirected, hey, like the reason I wanted to get into real estate was to buy rent.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's the main focus. I've kind of jumped off the team. I'm focusing on buying creative deals. Still looking for the first one, but
All right.
it's coming soon.
So you're focusing just on creative for your rentals?
Currently.
Yeah. Okay. So is it creative finance and SubTo deals, anything like that then in your neck of the woods? Where are you looking? Are you just looking in Georgia?
Right now, Georgia, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Those are the main places. Obviously in Georgia, you've got like Atlanta, Augusta, Savannah.
Mm-hmm. Have you hooked up with Alexis Morgan yet? I mean, you're right there. So, you got Abraham Gray and Alexis Morgan right there in your backyard.
Yep.
Have you
I
met
need
them?
to reconnect with them. I haven't talked to them in a while. But I know you're going to ask about the podcast. It's actually Alexis who got me into doing the podcast.
Okay, well, good. Good deal. So, all right. So I am going to ask about the podcast. Tell us about the podcast.
Okay. Sometime, don't even remember. It was after it before Squad Up. I connected with Alexis, and I was just telling her like, "Hey, here's what I'm doing, but I need to get this thing going. I'm not really sure what steps I need to take." And I mean, like, at that point, I was frustrated because I hadn't made any money in this industry yet. So I was like, what do I need? And she, after hearing me talk and all this stuff, came to the conclusion that I needed to start connecting. So I need to network with a bunch of people and then connect them for a little fee. And so after that, I was like, okay, well, how's the best way for me to connect with people?
Mm-hmm.
Something I learned being an outreach is that I like recording myself. Every time I record a call, I would prefer to have an actual video. Um, so I was like, you know what? How can I do this outside of going and meeting people at meetups? I don't know how it is specifically you're in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know y'all got a great community out there. But in Atlanta, we've got like 3 meetups, and that's about it.
Okay.
And they're all in Atlanta, which is actually like an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. So you're not that close.
Yeah. So outside of those, how can I connect with people? That was the question I had. So that combination, I like being recorded, and I need to meet more people. I decided to start a podcast.
Hell yeah, that's why I did it. I mean, but it was also I was in that Project Ford from Pace Morby, so he had said that. And actually, when I first thought about it, when he first told me, I was like, "This isn't something I want to do." and then I did a couple interviews, and I was like, "That's kind of fun, and I'll stick with it." And then I reached out to Pace. I said, "Hey, look, to motivate me to keep doing this, I'll do this, but to motivate me, I want you to do an interview with me a year from now." And he agreed. So I got him scheduled originally for September 4th. Now it's September 11th, so I'm hoping that one sticks, but we'll see.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was in Project Forward too, and it intrigued me then, but I didn't know what to do with podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just put it on the back burner until it was Alexis who said I need to be connecting, and I was like, that's what I need to do with podcasting.
Hell yeah, it's the perfect way.
And the podcast, I know you tried to say it earlier, it's your network.
Networks, your network's net worth. Okay, that's true. And she always says that. That's something she always says, and so I see that you picked that up from her right too. That's the one thing that always stuck out with me from her. Is she always said that all the time. She says that like all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's been good. I mean, let's see.
growing? Is it growing?
Yeah, it's definitely growing. Not so much in views. Well, I guess it is. I started implementing shorts and stuff like that.
Okay, I gotta do the same.
So, like, I don't know how you do yours. I don't edit at all.
No, I don't either. I record and go, and I was doing it with StreamYard to start. It was really easy with StreamYard. Now I switched over to Riverside, so having a little bit of a change in the software has been difficult. It doesn't seem as smooth. Like with StreamYard, I could start the thing like how I wanted to this morning, and it was no problem. with you, it went all right. This morning I did another one and it didn't go so well. So
Oh man.
nothing was working this morning. I don't know if it was my internet or what, because we've also had an internet problem here last weekend. Since last weekend, we've been having like remodelers, and that's one reason that we had the problem last weekend. But remodelers come and they hit our fiber line, so we've been having internet issues. And AT&T does not like to deal with that stuff.
Oh no, not at all.
No, they don't like to do their job. So anyway, enough of that. So how long have you? When did you start your podcast? How long have you had it now?
Started it. I believe it was in February.
Okay. How many interviews have you done? I know you're right. You're up there with me.
Yeah. So actually, tomorrow, which would be Monday the 26th, episode 33.
Holy shit! So I got to get on the ball and get rolling. You're catching up to me. You're my competition. So. So how do you enjoy doing it? Have you enjoyed doing the podcast?
Yeah, I'm learning a little bit about it. Figuring out that because I'm still using,
Okay.
and they have the little AI clip generator now,
Yeah, I saw that.
so that's helped. Like, let's see, I'm actually looking at it here. So, like this week, I had my podcast drops every Monday.
Okay.
So I interviewed Jay Wynn, and his podcast came out on the 19th, and I was able to make enough little clips that I was able to post one every day of the week until now. I've got tomorrow's podcast that's going to drop,
All right.
and that seemed to actually help views.
Pick up your views. See, that's what I got to
Yeah.
start doing. I got to focus more on my social media and doing little shorts like that. Someone else, SubTo Shayna, she's doing a lot like that right now. Her views are really starting to pop up, and she's been telling me about it. And I'm like, yeah, I need to get on the ball on this.
Yeah. So, and I'm trying to do a little more content outside of just the podcast, since I am trying to. With one of the big things I was told / realized, which was provide value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know that as being in sub two, but like I'm trying to want to buy strictly from wholesalers. That's what I want to do. My ideal deal would be everyone that's a part of it is sub two,
Right.
right? Or is in the community in some way.
Mm-hmm.
A good way to do that is to provide value to those that I want to buy from, right? Okay, so somebody sends me a deal, I look at it, hop on a call with them and record it. Know, hey, here's why this deal doesn't work, and here's what I would need, and that would ideally help people in the future, especially if they can access it on YouTube, or Instagram, anything like that.
Yeah, I get you. So, but all right, you joined as a Gator. Have you done any lending yet?
I did lend. I only lent on one deal. It ended up falling through, but luckily I didn't lose.
Okay.
Actually, it was a combination. Me being in the game and buyer I was working with being new to the game.
Okay.
So luckily he was on my side. Like, hey man, the seller's a jerk, not really talking to me. Want to risk you losing money, so I got lucky. But not long after that is when I joined you, started making with the muds. I just haven't focused on the other side.
No,
No.
I'm surprised that Alexis didn't pick up on that you're a gator, that you can be lending. Even for the like the double closes, the EMD and stuff like that. You're not trying to do any of that.
No, mainly it's either I'm trying to buy deals or people.
Okay. Doing connectors. I got in a couple ones at first, like right off the bat, but the connectors kind of, I was like, I couldn't see where they were making the money. Well, I could see where they were making the money, but then every kind of connector thing that came across my lap when first being in SubTo seemed like there was 4 more connectors on it, and I'm just like, that just doesn't seem like something I should be in. And after talking with some other people, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be doing that kind of daisy chain connector thing, So a couple people that kept bringing me those, I was like, look, here, you do it, you do the deal, whatever, and that's fine. I'm cool with it. So
I think one of the things about connecting is that at least start. Like if let's say you have something, whether you're failing, whatever it is, uh, and you need a connection that I have.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple, just be like, hey man, you need to go talk to them. And that's it. That's in my mind, just trying to help you out.
Right.
Right. But if it gets to a point where you're, and I don't mean that way, but like you're relying on me, okay, can I get a fee?
Right.
Right. So it's also really hard in my mind as someone, hey, are you good if I need to connect you when we're like
Yeah.
all in the frame?
Right.
I felt like I did so many times. They were like, oh, I'm doing this. You need to go. Let's go.
Yeah. See, I would be a little weird on asking that too, but now I just and then they said just bring it up, So I started doing that. Hey, look, I don't have a problem connecting you if I do. Are you going to give me a fee for this? Because otherwise, you wouldn't have a deal if I didn't bring in that person.
Right.
So you gotta figure that. There, a lot of people are going to try and get it. I was told everybody's going to try and get it for free. So don't let them take advantage.
Yeah.
So I was like, because I'm like, I'm cool with helping you out here, helping you out. But if you're coming back at me every time, okay, well, hey, we need to renegotiate this, and maybe I need to get a little bit of something for always helping you out on your deals. That's understandable too. So I don't
there's
know.
a fine line you gotta walk.
Yeah, it's the connecting thing. I don't know. I was like, that should be easy to do, but then I really started seeing where there's a lot of people doing that daisy chain thing, and I'm just like, nah. Everybody's just trying to weasel in on it seems like weasel in on something that they're really not a part of. They're not really bringing anything to the table. So I wasn't cool with that.
And I think another part to that, because I done the most recent connecting opportunity I had, it ended up through, but they needed a link, and I reached out to a couple of people that I knew that were, unfortunately, it took too long for them.
No.
So I connected Francois. I don't know if you talked to him.
No, I haven't.
He's like 19 up in California. But I had a podcast. And so we were talking, and I was like, hey, man, you know anybody who is on this year long? He's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. Let you do that. See if you can. And ended up talking to the buyer, and they set up a connection fee. I had already really connected. And after I was like, hey man, just curious, what did you negotiate for your connection fee? I'm trying to figure out if I'm overcharging, if I'm undercharging, what's going on. And he's like, "Oh, I just like 500." And I was like, "Oh, well, he agreed to $2,000." So no,
Oh boy. Whoops.
yeah. And I was like, "Oh, well, now I know what I can ask for." So,
Yeah, I asked right away before I started. Hey, well, how do you do this? Because there was one that the guy asking for, they wanted me to connect him with a private money lender, and he seemed real shady off the bat. Anyway, I'm not going to say the names on here. He ended up getting kicked out of SubTo because of the deal, and he also, he screwed a couple other people over that ended up in on the deals he was working on. But I asked, I was asking a lot of questions right away because these connectors too. The thing that kind of bugged me about it, the whole situation, they want to get in and connect. There wasn't one of them that was willing to bring in the contract to do like the JV contract to have us all on it and all that. It's like you guys aren't willing to do anything for it. I went and found the contract. I went and found what we had to do. I figured, okay, well, how do you get paid connecting? That's when I really started asking, well, how do you get paid, and what should someone get paid for connecting on a deal? And like $1,000 or two. Tell them $1,000 or two. I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. But yeah, I haven't figured that one out. That one still eludes me because of the daisy chain thing. It just is like, no, I'll get
yeah,
on a connector deal. Like maybe if I'm just one or there's one other person, maybe, but no more than that. Yeah.
yeah. And I had asked, I was like, "What the amount that you need, like how much you get off of it, is it going to be a deal if I take $3,000?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, that's fine." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And that's what we agreed to. If he had, well, it's going to, there's a whole system for me to buy. He's like, "Well, it's really tight hand on, either or, um, or let's get, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. All right. So moving on along, you doing that? You're doing a connector, Gator. So are you gonna do any more? Are you gonna try to do anything else with Gator? I would. That's what I was see. That's where I want to get to more to it. Pace is always talking about Gator, talking about the easiest way to get into real estate is lending. But now I don't see the easiest way because you have to deal with a lot of riffraff and you have to do a lot of vetting, right? There's a lot to it. It's just not here. I'm going to give you my money and we're all cool. Here's a handshake and I'm going to get paid as soon as he pays me back because most people tend to not pay back as quick. Or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think eventually I'll get back towards lending.
okay.
Uh, right now,
The rentals,
the focus is buying.
buying, and what are you buying? Single family?
So right now, family, I have this goal that every property I buy is at least one more than the last. Um, it's just to expedite, you know, growth.
Okay. Have you defined your buy box with that with the single properties?
Yes. So right now we're looking um, creative deals in Georgia, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Um, that at minimum break even in term rental. So I kind of stole this from Dan Grove. So I got to give him some credit. But basically, take ATI, add 20%, and if that matches the rent in the then that breaks,
Okay.
and we'll look at
All right. Yeah, because what's insurance and interest rates done to your market over there, especially rentals? I know in Houston or in Texas, it's killed the rental industry. I mean,
it. Yeah. So ours out here definitely went up a little bit, but not as drastic as Texas and Florida.
yeah.
So it's mainly interest rate crushed a lot of rentals.
All right. So let me ask you about your So you've been in SubTo for a little bit, Gator for a little bit. What did you do before deciding to do all this? What was your career?
So it's still what I do as of now.
Okay.
I'm a firefighter.
Firefighter. All right. And in what's the town in Georgia?
So I work for Forsyth County,
Okay.
or Cumming, Georgia.
All right. And how long have you been doing that?
This is 5 years.
5 years. All right. So tell me about your flag, burn the ship. What's the deal with that?
Uh, so there's an old story that can't remember the name of the conquistador, but basically they got a Spanish conquistador got notified that there was gold over here. I think it was either Caribbean or just in South America. Um, and so he brought his whole fleet, and they get there. There's a tribe, indigenous people that no, this ain't gonna fly. You guys get out of here. We're gonna kill you. And along with sickness, travel, stuff, everybody's and the conquistador. You know what? Burn our ship. They gave the order. Everybody burn the ship. And they looked at it and said, well, we either succeed or die. There's no backing out. There's no quitting. Those are our two. And I've always been powerful. I'll be honest. I haven't been courageous to do that fully. Mainly my wife would kill me if I told her I couldn't drive or die.
Right.
But that's the reality I think.
Okay. So I figured that it got to be something to do then with your being a firefighter. Burn the ship. All of a sudden, then I see the flag. Burn the ship. So no, it's just it's a way. But you chose tough industries to be in. Being a fighter is not something that's easy to do. So now you're trying real estate investing too. So what's getting you through the hard times? What do you do to get through the hard times?
That is a really good question. Probably would have to be my or focusing on my highest value.
Okay.
Or sorry, let me rephrase it. Focusing on the thing, which would be my wife and kids. And like I always kind of knew that was the thing I valued most, but I didn't know it for certain until I took a values test.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what does your life show you value it? And so, like, one of the easiest you can evaluate what is uh, in your closest proximity to you. The things we value keep closest to us.
Mm-hmm.
Things we don't, we put them further out. And one of the number one things outside of my phone, and that's in order for me to connect with people, is what the symbol of. So when things get tough, I want to be like, oh, I toughed it out. I'm a big man, whatever. But I'll be honest, I'll probably bitch and moan a little bit
Mm-hmm. Well,
and then go to my wife And she would look at me and say, kind of being a bitch. And I'm like, you're right. And so then I get back into it.
That's awesome. That's a good story right there. Because I mean, you got the partner to really back you up. So it sounds like she's in it with you then, huh? She stands behind you in doing all this.
Yep. And that really started to escalate 2 years ago. We both started doing 75 hard.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about your experience there.
Yep. It's been great. The first year we did it, we do the which for those of you, I could say like it, but honestly, go find the original podcast episode 208 and go listen to that. But when we started 260 pounds, I was pretty plump and not really well at all. By the end of last year, I was down to 220. A lot of it, I'm trying different diets, different workouts, stuff like that. And probably the one that's worked the most so far in sense of like losing fat and stuff like that would be carnivore.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just meat, huh?
Just meat. Now I say that I actually did a more relaxed version of carnivore to where it was meat, animal products.
Okay.
So I would still have dairy, anything that was produced by an animal. So that I even included honey in that. I try not to use it all the time, but that would give me something a little sweet. But yeah, it was great. Felt great. Just got off phase 2, which is basically all the same stuff, 7,500, only for 30 days. And, I apologize for a second.
You're all right.
Are you going?
No, she's going yet.
Oh.
That's her idea.
Oh, okay. Going. Sorry.
Oh, you're quite all right. That's no problem right there. How old is that one?
She's 4.
Okay. How many do you have?
2 right now.
2?
We'll have 3 in December.
Boy, so you got another one on the way.
Yep. That's why we were shopping earlier today.
All right. Well, congrats, man. Congrats on that.
Thank you. But no, we just finished phase 2 and did whole 30.
Okay.
And I didn't notice the difference, like in my body composition afterwards. And I know I lost a little bit of my gut. But the biggest thing is I lost cravings.
Okay.
It actually became a problem because after we got off whole 30, every third day I'm at a fire station and we got to choose what we're going to eat and all that stuff. It's just like living there. And we're walking through the store and I'm just like, I just don't know what I want to eat. I don't have a particular feeling. And it actually came down to what is the most convenient thing for me to have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could make the last too much work. I could cook this. That's too much. So, which saying it out, I realized that that's just another way of the what we call the bitch voice. I feel bad. I don't want to.
No, you're all right. Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, basically, it's another form of bitch voice.
Right.
Gets at laziness, complacency, it doesn't go away.
Not at all.
It just gets more clever in how to convince you.
Right.
So,
So how have you found it battling this all the time then? Because it is, you're right, it's a constant. It is a constant. You might think, hey, I got through it a few days, no big deal, and then bam, it'll slap you in the back of the head
Yep.
out of nowhere.
And it's so bad because, kind of like what I said earlier, like the way I do it is by bitch, and my mom, my wife, will call me out on it. And of course, you'll be like, but I've been busting out these workouts, been doing good, been resisting this one thing. And then it could be as simple as like, been working really hard, just lay in bed for a few more minutes. And you're like, you know what? Yeah, I deserve that. And then a few more minutes turns into 30 minutes. And then you wake up, crap, I've thrown the day away.
Exactly. I have that same. There's sometimes like, oh, I'm gonna get up at 3 in the morning. I got studying to do. I got some stuff to do, and then 3 will hit, the alarm goes off. Boom. Oh, I really need 20, 30 more minutes sleep. And before I know it, it's, oh man, it's 5 o'clock. Dang it! I lost 2 hours messing around, just thinking I'm tired and I need to get over it. Just get myself up and get over it. But the discipline, getting that discipline is not so easy all the time.
And just when you think it's easier,
It doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think it ever goes away because I hear, I watch. And you're on the podcast too, or on the Zooms. You hear Pace and them; they're all dealing with it too. They still deal with the syndromes and the am I good enough for this, and the imposter syndrome and stuff like that. I still hear Abraham Gray talk about it from time to time. It's like, well, how would you got the money and everything behind you? I don't have. I can understand someone like us being in that position, but not someone like Pace or Abraham so much. It's like, well, you have all this behind you, but even though they have all this behind them, they still are going and doing bigger things than themselves. So I think that's where it comes in.
Absolutely.
So what's on the future? So you're gonna buy, how many? Do you have a goal of how many houses you want to buy?
Like a total goal,
Yearly goal or anything? Like how many you want to buy this year? Have you thought about that?
So I definitely want to buy my first house before the end of the year.
Okay.
But I've actually done, because we're using, it's me and my best friend who's also a friend. We're kind of joined up together. We're going to use profit first style of finances.
Okay.
And kind of come up with the number of rentals or number of doors we need to have in order for us to pay our monthly expenses. That's the number we're starting, which is 129 doors.
All right.
So that's the first, maybe not first milestone, but one of the biggest milestones we have right now.
Okay. So what are you doing to find leads for these for this?
So right now, I'm trying to connect with as many wholesalers, lenders as possible.
Okay, so you're going to buy up the deals from the wholesalers.
That's the plan.
And you said your goal is to really have like everybody in SubTo, like, hey, I got a wholesaler in SubTo, and connect everybody and build a deal with everybody in SubTo.
Absolutely.
That's
I
cool.
want to get back to this community as best I can.
Right. Well, that's cool. So anything in the pipeline yet? Or you?
I've got a couple people sending me some stuff. I'm really trying to work on my underwriting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not super confident in it.
I hear you. I'm struggling with that too. I'm struggling with like deals. Like it took me a year to get into my first deal, and then I'm still looking for my second. but I'm not confident in what is a deal fully. Because
Right.
there's a whole lot I think, well, this is a deal. You'll make 20, 30, 40,000 bucks. Why is that not a deal? But, it's also figuring out, well, these guys that are already doing it and been doing it, they have a certain amount that they have to make per deal for their business. So that's understandable.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot, like I've learned a ton just in the almost year I've been in SubTo.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times I've got to remind myself that I've learned a lot, but even I'm not going to know it for sure until I do it. So really I need to flag because I have a whole new mentality, and that is take imperfect action, right? And that actually about, well, I'm sure you've heard that pace before. I know I've heard that pace before. But I was actually going through a summary of The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan.
Okay.
And basically the example that really kind of gave me that perspective was Amelia Earn. She had the goal to be the first female pilot across the Atlantic, or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
But years before that ever happened, she got the offer to be the first female passenger. Now, that's not what she wanted to do. She wanted to be a pilot. So she could have said no. But she realized, even though it might be a step in the direction that she wants to go, it's at least a step.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said yes. And then through a series of events and other obstacles that maybe it's like she's going away from her goal, she ends up where she wanted to be.
All right.
So that really kind of helped, like, hey, it doesn't matter as long as it is a step in the line of which is straight.
Right.
Then it's a step you need to take.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what led me to, I'm starting another meetup on weekends, not every weekend, but like at least once a month. Something that all the whole family can be around, because that's the main thing that frustrated my wife is I'd go to these meetups and she'd be stuck with the kids.
Uh-oh.
So,
Yeah, that's no good. You're getting out of the house and getting away, and she's, hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be out there earning, not being all social.
Yeah. And it gives her an opportunity to kind of see, because like she knows that the networking is an integral part, but because she's not there, she doesn't see it. She doesn't get the sense of, okay, here's how this is going to, provide for us.
Right.
So giving her the opportunity, like today we had this morning at a local park, we just let the kids play on the playground, and we, and like one other person showed up because it was kind of short. But we got chit chatting, and even that was beneficial because even though I've known Heather, talked, we met at Golden Ticket and other things, I had no idea that she wanted to start as well. But she travels a lot, so she can't commit to a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, let's do this together then. So now we're looking at like next month, possibly having like a potluck or something like that.
That's awesome. That's really, we have, like you had mentioned, our community here. We have one. It used to be real strong. They used to have the power hour meetups every Saturday. For I don't know why it's kind of dropped off. I think part of it was the title companies we would meet at. said, we can't be meeting there anymore, or some reason due to parking. So I think those fell off, but no one's taken the ball to keep it going. We still have I think there's a monthly SubTo meetup, but you got to search it out. Now, if
Yeah.
I'm noticing I got to search for it. I don't just see it on the feeds anymore and stuff like that. So it's kind of dwindled. And then I've been thinking about doing what you're doing. Hey, let's start up another one. I want to just start up a local, like right here in Katy around, and just have people come out this way, do a For Action Takers only one, and start that.
There you go.
Thinking about it. And you're inspiring. If you're doing that, it's like, hey, cool. It doesn't matter how many show up either. Someone, hey, you got one showed up. Someone showed up. So someone's paying attention. So that's cool. So had a good conversation with them.
Yeah. Learned a lot. And I think there's some good stuff coming, just the plans we were making. Now I can't take credit for this. Okay. Daniel and gave me this idea to do the playground, all that stuff.
Okay.
So, but I mean, whether it was you first, he influenced me. Hopefully, I'll influence maybe you in Houston, someone else who watches this, because that's a great idea.
Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, we do. When I went to Power Hour, they were great. I mean, they were a recharge. They were definitely something that helped keep you going. Because again, the negative thoughts will bombard the shit out of you. So when you get around these other people, there's a lot that are doing the same as you. There's a big positive vibe, and it's a recharge. I got a recharge out of it every week. Really miss them, and I've been sad. It's like, man, what happened? How come you guys aren't doing this anymore? Let's get this. But everybody's busy. I understand that, but we need to get back on doing that kind of stuff. I think that helps a lot more.
So something you just said there connected in my mind with not just real estate, but like even in our current, I don't necessarily want to jump into politics,
right?
But
Our current situation.
Yeah. And that's if you're asking yourself, why are people not doing something? Flip that around.
There you go.
Why are you not doing something?
Mm-hmm. It's not their responsibility. It's mine.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of what goes with your network. Your network's net worth is not anybody else's responsibility except your own. Networking is not, John's problem. It's mine. I got to get out there and meet people. I'm not going to do anything if I don't know anybody. So I never realized how, I thought I could do it all. Here's the thing. I was a musician younger. So, and then I just thought I could do things alone. I was like, no, I'll do this myself. I always have to figure things out. Being a musician, being around a bunch of other flaky people, a lot of them are really flaky and lazy, and they get their addiction problems and stuff like that, and which I had too when I was younger. But we get focused, we get off focus, and we run in the wrong direction. So it's funny how it's like now I've really realized how these things mindset. I never thought mindset was important. I was like, I just get over it and do what you need to do, but that's still part of mindset, And boy, I really see it messing with me in this.
Yeah. Dude, when it comes to mindset, well, before I jump into this, I do want to ask, what was, you said you were music, instrument or vocal?
Instrument, guitar.
Okay. See, I was vocalist.
Okay.
And so, like, I get where you're coming from. I'm just doing it by myself. You can make beautiful music by yourself. Hard. Technically, you can do it when singing too, but it is a lot more difficult.
Right.
So, as a vocalist, I at least had to rely on other people. Like, hey, you play the music, or hey, if you put the CD in or something. But no, that's interesting.
Well, I mean, I had to too, and that was the thing. It was like I wanted to be on a team, but I was terrible at building the team or trying to build the team, especially. And then I think because I wasn't really focused on a team, it was still my own selfish wants were in there. I wasn't considering others in certain things. a lot of things in my mind had to change, especially to start doing this. Because and learning the mindset stuff, it's like, holy moly, how you talk about, or they talk about how your thoughts will shape everything, and what you think is what you get. I never used to believe that, but now I see it. When the negative is bombarding you and you act on it, it just brings a whole ton more. It's just like, holy moly, these people weren't lying about this stuff, and I thought it was all a bunch of hoopla, you know?
See, I didn't even know about that stuff. But now that I've heard it, like, I'm not saying affirmations and all that stuff. I'm sure that has a place,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think it has to be more intentional than just like, I want $1 million,
Right.
For me, growing up, I had 3 goals in life. Actually 4, but one I didn't really think I could work towards actively. So the 3 goals were, I wanted to get married, have kids, and be a firefighter.
So
I achieved all that at the age of 25.
and now what? So is that how come you're starting investing? Because like, well, I achieved all my goals. Now I got to do something else.
Absolutely.
But you said
And that
something. Go
that
ahead.
was rough.
That was rough.
When I realized, okay, I achieved my goal, what am I going to pursue?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not one to, like, okay, I'm fine just doing this day in, day out. The whole reason I left a logistics behind the desk job, it's because I didn't want to be behind the desk every day. On something new. And the beauty of being a firefighter is one day I'll be doing nothing,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great day for everybody involved.
All right.
And then one day I'm going to save some house for I'm evacuating the front because sewage gases are releasing and filling up the building. Helping grandma, or every day is different.
Right.
So
I think that's a big thing for a lot of people like us that get into doing this stuff. It's just the monotony of normal life is just not cool with us. We got to have a little bit more of a challenge. Sometimes I wonder why. No.
So for me, and this has always been my mentality, is I've always believed that God created us and created this world not just for us to stay in one spot and experience something over and over again, but to experience all of it.
I think so too.
So I think that's a part of why we have that drive of, okay, let's get out there and do this. Which leads to that 4th thing that I thought I couldn't actively work
Mm-hmm.
to, which was I want to be a wise man. But I always had to come with experience. I recently just got into philosophy, and that's blown my mind. But yeah, so that was a big drive for me, was I want to experience everything I can. And that's not just I want to experience good things. I was not a hedonist that just pursued pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to experience it all. And unfortunately, that meant the bad things too. Like up until my senior year of high school, I envied people who had broken limbs. I had never broken anything. I didn't know what it was like.
Huh. It's funny you say that because I remember envying people that had casts. It wasn't that they were broken; it's just they had these casts, and I was like, I want a cast.
Same thing. So it's just all part of it. I'll be honest, I've lost where I was going.
No, you're all right. It's our wants and desires get mixed up in the whys of things, I think so. And we're right here at an hour, so I need to cut it off and tell us, how do we get a hold of you and how can people help you? You got some links or web page, or how can people find you?
Absolutely. So the easiest way to get in touch with me, I'll be honest, is to text me, which I can give you my number. But I've got her name right there.
Yeah, Corey McNabb.
Yep, that's my Instagram, YouTube. Type that in, you'll be able to find me, my podcast.
Cool. And I'll put it all in the description too, to the video when it's all posted. I'll have your link tree and your link and all that. So I'll put those in
Yes.
I'll put those in your description.
Awesome. I'm glad you brought up the link tree. I will say, guys, if you want to be on my podcast, the link tree is a link that we can sign up time, chit chat. I know Todd's about to sign up. You can see it in his eyes. And that also has about some, or if you just maybe you're not enough to be on a podcast, but you want to chat with me, you can sign up for it and to just take a phone call with me. And that'd be the easiest.
Okay, so on your link tree, I'm gonna bring it up on my. So you got your YouTube. Okay, be a special guest on my podcast. All right, I'm gonna have to go on there and find me a time. What times are you doing interviews? Are you doing them during the week or in the evenings or what?
Yeah, so since my job is every third day, it's kind of a scattered, but I try and schedule them anywhere between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna look in September. You got more days open there, so we're gonna go in September. So, all right, I'll pick a day. I'll get on yours. Thank you for being on mine. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And again,
I
I
appreciate
really appreciate you working with me. And we had it scheduled before, but I had to reschedule last weekend due to a family issue here at the house. So I really appreciate you being understanding for that.
it's all
And
good, brother.
thank you for your time. Thank you for being on here, and look forward to talking with you a whole lot more. If there's anything I can help you in your goals, let me know. You need anything, you end up wanting to buy stuff here in Houston, need boots on the ground, give me a shout. I know you got a lot of people here in Houston, with Andrew and all those guys, Brad. You already know a good group of guys, so you can add me to those. I know those guys too. So anything, let me know.
Awesome. Absolutely.
All right, man. You have a good one, and we'll be talking later.
Awesome. Thank you so much.